And I learned that most of our waking hours are spent in the subconscious state, and we just don't realize it. And it's our critical factor that makes us or breaks us in life. And I'm going to have to break this down for you. Let me show you guys a diagram about what we call the theory of mind. So this circle represents the power of our mind. The top portion here represents our conscious mind, which constitutes only 12% of the power of our mind. Within the conscious mind, we have our thoughts, our desires, and our voluntary body actions. An example of a voluntary body action would be me tapping my head. I intended to do that, and so my mind sent a signal to my body that made that action take place. The bottom portion represents our subconscious, which constitutes 88% of the power of our mind. Within our subconscious mind reside our primal instincts or our fight or flight responses. We don't need to be taught to run away from a tiger or fight a tiger if it's coming to attack us, right? It's a fight or flight response, and this is part of our subconscious mind. Within the subconscious also reside our past experiences and our involuntary body actions. An example of an involuntary body action would be breathing. While I can consciously be aware of my breathing, like for instance when I say take a deep cleansing breath in, that was a voluntary body action, but 99.9% of the time when we're breathing, we're doing so subconsciously. I mentioned earlier the critical filter, which is located here between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. And it's exactly that, a critical filter, because it is what makes us or breaks us in life. Let me explain. The critical filter is formed mostly by the time we're 8 years old and is almost completely formed by adolescence. It's everything that we've been taught to believe about ourselves and about the world around us. So here is when we run into challenges. If we have a thought that we want to become a way of life, like if I want to believe I'm beautiful, but that's not in line with what I've been taught to believe about myself, that thought's not going to become a way of life. Or if I have the desire to become wealthy, but all I've ever known was poverty, well then that's not going to pierce through my critical filter and into my subconscious mind, thus becoming a way of life. If I want to be healthy, but all I've ever known was sickness, again, it's not going to pierce through that critical filter and make its way into the subconscious mind where it becomes a way of life. However, there's 3 ways that we can pierce through that critical filter to make our thoughts, desires, and actions a part of life, a way of life. So the first way that we can break through the critical filter is through repetition, doing something over and over and over again until it becomes a way of life or an involuntary body action. Another way that we can pierce through that critical filter is through an attachment to a very strong emotional or physical feeling. For instance, if you touch a hot stove, you only need to do that once to know to never do it again, right? And then the third way to pierce through that critical filter is through hypnosis. Now, hypnosis is an overload of message units which triggers a fight or flight response within the subconscious mind, which then opens the critical filter, making us hyper-suggestible to thoughts or ideas. And now the difference between hypnosis and hypnotherapy is, first and foremost, hypnotherapy is used only for good. I mean, it's a therapy. And also, hypnotherapy is facilitated. The way you pierce through that critical filter via hypnotherapy is through extreme relaxation. And it's through this extreme relaxation that the critical filter opens up, and then the individual becomes hyper suggestible to positive thoughts and ideas that will benefit their well-being.